Hello and welcome everyone to the ffsplit's quick start guide. First of all, of course, for this guide we will need ffsplit, so let's get onto ffsplit.com, and under this download button right here you can start downloading the installer. You can also check the required applications, which the installer will also install for you. The minimum requirements which come from your hardware, in this case a dual-core CPU, and Windows Vista is required. So XP is not supported in this case, but you should not be on XP anymore anyway. And last but not least, recommended for ffsplit, at least for 720p streaming, is a quad-core CPU, in this case an Intel i7 or AMD Phenom, and Windows 7. So the installer finished downloading. Let's install it quickly. Minimize this, and I will use the default folder under program files and set up a start menu folder as well. And in this case, activate the option to create a little desktop icon, so I can later on start ffsplit right away from my desktop if I want to. So as you can see, the runtimes are being installed and ffsplit finished. Then on the first start, it will ask you if it should download ffmpeg for you. The installer is not allowed to supply you right away with ffmpeg, so it has to download those files, which it automatically can do for you. So just click OK, let it download everything, and then ffsplit should be ready to go. First of all, in the first section, we can select our encoding profile, which we'll set up in a second in the encoder section. We can set up different profiles and then have the option to select the other profiles right here. Then we can activate the different output stream options we want. So for example, in this case, our first profile would stream to Twitch TV and the second profile would do a local recording. But in this case, we can also set up more than one streaming profile, and then it will stream to two locations at the same time, for example. Also, it will then calculate the required minimum upload and the recommended upload speed for us, and we can even do a speed test right here, but more on this after we set up our services and encoder in a second. And finally, we can activate the option to automatically reconnect our session, and in this case set the amount of retries if it doesn't work right away. So for example, to 2 retries. If it cannot connect within these 2 retries, it will then stop reconnecting now. So let's check the server section. In this case, first of all, let's do a new profile, which we will call Twitch. In this case, our streaming service will stay on Twitch TV, but we can either use the find best server option, or if we already know which is the best server, which is for me normally Amsterdam, I will just select this right away, but the find best server option is pretty useful. Then we can either enter our stream key and use the verify option to verify the service, or we can connect with Twitch TV. And in this case, XSplit crashed for me, so I will enter the stream key and hope that everything runs fine. And as you can see, after I click verify, the service is verified, and I can also enter a channel name. So I will enter the channel name as well. And after we click apply, this should be set up. And now we would have the option, for example, to set up the next profile to, let's say, Hitbox TV. In this case, currently no profile is available in ffsplit for this, but we can set up a custom location. So then we would just have to enter our RTMP address for Hitbox TV and our stream key for Hitbox TV, and could then again verify this if everything works fine, and afterwards go on. But this is just to showcase we could do this. Afterwards, we now have in the session section available to activate the streaming to Twitch TV. As soon as we do this, the calculator tells us we need at least 2.1, or recommended would be 2.7 Mbit upload for our current encoding settings, which we will check in a second. And if we now would activate our Hitbox account, it would then automatically tell us that we will now need the double amount of upload speed, at least 4.2, but more recommended for 5.4 Mbits in this case. And of course, the local recording does not affect the required upload speed, as it just goes to our local hard drive. So let's check the encoder settings right now, as they affect our encoder profile in this case. So for example, our default encoding profile in this case tells ffsplit to stream on a constant bitrate, constant bitrate, which is recommended for Twitch TV in a 720p resolution at 30 fps, to embed upload speed, and with AAC audio at 128 kilobit and stereo format. In this case, for Twitch TV, the recommended settings are compliant, so ffsplit checks this for you. So for example, if I now would switch to variable bitrate, Twitch TV would moan that you are not using constant bitrate, so ffsplit moans right away, so you are aware of this right away, or right ahead. And you could now also set up a second profile, for example, call it 1080p, and later on just use it for recording or similar stuff, and then change your resolution accordingly, or even increase your frame rate, and do stuff like this. Afterwards, after we have now two encoding profiles available, let's rename our first one to 720p and 30 fps. We can now get back to our session menu and have now the option to switch between those two profiles at the start of ffsplit. So let's keep it for our streaming test to the Twitch compliance settings and to 720p. Now in the capture section, we first of all have the option to select a different video adapter. This can be important on laptop setups. So you can see in my case, I also have my Intel integrated chip available, but as I'm using my AMD Radeon, I will keep it to this adapter. Then we have the option to, in this case, for example, if we are not using our default playback device, we could switch to our HDMI output or a virtual audio cable or similar as the desktop input. And our capture recording device, of course, for example, could be set to our microphone input. And for this, we could also activate the push to talk hotkey, which we can set up in the hotkey section in a second. First of all, we can also add some time delays. In this case, first of all to the video adapter, then to the desktop adapter, as well as an audio boost, which we can add to the desktop adapter. And then we have the time delay for the microphone adapter, as well as an audio boost for this adapter. So if you have too low desktop sound or microphone sound, you could then just boost your desktop or microphone audio, but please do this in quick, short and minimum steps. Small steps. Then test, reset, and ask your viewers if it's fine and not too loud, or if your voice still sounds good. So in the hotkey section, you can then select, for example, the start key, and press bind hotkey, select the hotkey you want to use, and it should appear right here in the list. So this should be simply self-explanatory. The options are also descripted, have a description right away. So let's get on to the others section. Here we have the option to deactivate any deletion confirmation dialog. So for example, later on when we configure everything, we can deactivate this dialog. Then we can deactivate the exit dialog if you want to. And we can set ffsplit to minimize the tray automatically, as well as check for update and check for test updates. If you want to just activate this, or sometimes check by yourself if you want to. Then we can activate the options, option where to save our video files. So in this case, my videos folder is selected, and I could, for example, also select a service name and a date format, so the video files would be named by a year, month, day, as well as changing the output format. I will quickly make sure that this is the correct folder. I moved my my videos folder, so this is just for me. Then you can also, last but not least, change the ffmpeg location. If you also already use your own ffmpeg installation and did not download any binaries at the start, you can then set it up right here, or you can reset all your settings back to default settings. For example, if you screwed up something and don't remember the default settings, use this little button. So let me quickly check again if everything's fine. The Twitch TV should be working. Twitch is activated, local recording is activated. So now I can first of all, for the first time, start up FFsplit. And as you can see, it already starts with one canvas in this case. Other programs sometimes call this scenes. All scenes or canvases, you might know canvases from Photoshop or similar programs, can hold normally, I think, unlimited amount of layers. And with the layers, you can build your output, which your viewers will see on your stream. So for example, if I would start streaming right now, my viewers would see my desktop right away. Now let's go through the interface real quick. First of all, in the canvas section, you can of course add a new canvas, which in this case at start will always be empty. You also have, of course, always the option to right-click as a canvas that is already existing and to duplicate it so you get the same content and, for example, can only change one or two of your layers to get two different canvas. For example, if we now add something new to our layer list, we can, for example, select a text. And let me resize the window slightly. And for example, just enter our welcome message. And in this case, give it a little outline of 2.0 and in a green color. Add the layer. And now we can move it around. And so we now have one scene with the welcome screen and one scene with just our desktop. And in the third scene, for example, we could add something else. Let's say a video capture device, which would be our webcam, for example. I currently have none available, so I can't show you this, but I can show you how to add an image. So for example, for a Bitrate back screen, simply use the browse option. Then in my case, it should be in the My Pictures folder right here. And afterwards, you can also, of course, resize it, add the layer to the canvas. And you can, for example, also change the order and, of course, rename the different canvases so you know which one you have. You can click. Let's, for example, rename the first to desktop, the second to welcome, and the third one to our full screen. Then we have the option to for our different layers, for example, to lock them, which means I can now no more resize this layer accidentally or move it around accidentally. But I can now, of course, still add, for example, a text that says Bitrate back, and add this and move this around. But if I now, for example, lock this using this little icon or the button down here, I cannot move it around anymore. So as soon as you have something in the place you always want it to be, you can simply lock this this layer in this case, and it will not be moved again. Then you also have the option to hide a layer if you simply shortly want to hide it from the viewers. And of course, you can also use the icon right here instead of the hide button. So if you have more layers available, you can quickly just select them in the list with the icon. So then we have the layer options in this little section right here, which, for example, if you don't lock your layer, give you the option to select pixel values to position your layer on the screen, or to change the height and white of your layer, or even give it a little transparency effect. So you can see now the text turns transparent. So for example, 45% transparency, a little bit down here. And let's say we wanted a bit stretch to the side. So we can have that if we want to. So next we have the stream section. In this case, of course, we have to start streaming before it will tell us some more info about this in this case. And then we have the log section, or the log button, which will open the little log viewer window. And this will tell us about errors or similar stuff in this case. So this is more important if you want to talk to the developers of FFscript maybe. And next we have our audio options, which is first of all our desktop output, and then our microphone output in this case. So as you can see, my microphone is given a little bit input at the moment, but no desktop sound is playing. So you can only see a little bit moving down here on the left, but I could mute this and no sound from my microphone would come through. Then we have the quick region and quick window and quick text options, which simply allow you to quickly add a screen region, which in this case, for example, means I want to capture this section of my screen, and afterwards you can see the quick region. It shows this little picture-in-picture effect, or Hall of Mirrors effect, because I'm capturing the FFsplit window in this case. And now move it to the side, you can see it captures the background just fine. This is just because I selected a bad region in this case. So for example, if I do quick region and select this section down here, it should capture just fine after I set this to fit my canvas size. So if I now, for example, hide the background layer, you can see my quick region is now the only thing being captured. Or if I now enter a quick window, for example, and take a window that is currently not even on my current screen, you can see now my browser window on another monitor is visible in FFsplit. So to quickly enter a text screen region or a window capture, you can use these three buttons as well. And afterwards, as soon as you don't use them anymore, you can just remove them and reactivate the visibility of your layer you want to use. So I think we're now ready to start streaming. So let me quickly open my dashboard page, so we can see if we are really going live right away. And of course, allow FFsplit to go through your firewall in this case. You should have loaded this page. Oh, interesting. Let me guess. Twitch TV currently down. It should be streaming right now. You can see the frame rate right here, the length of the stream, the bandwidth that is that has been used, the number of frames that has been dropped, and the average frame rate and bitrate, or the actual bitrate in this case. So let me try to go on the Twitch TV page now. That seems to work. Let me check my dashboard now. And as you can see, I'm using an excellent stream configuration.